Now, plastics have become a headache for the country to deal with. Everywhere you turn, there are plastics lying around. A plastic bottle, for example, has become a major problem in this country. Today, we are being told by researchers that some of the fish we eat contain microplastics affecting our health negatively. But why are people opting for plastic bottles? Joy News' Samuel Kojo Brace explores alternatives that can help save our environment, prevent flooding, and also address the economic cost of poor environmental practices.
Me, I prefer the glass bottles. You know, with the plastic bottles, it has become a big, let's say a big challenge, and you see that a lot of plastics on the street. You see a lot of plastics on the street, but it is very difficult to see glass on the street. Yeah, so I will go for the glass bottle.
So how is this impacting the decision of restaurant operators? Isaac Lai is a supervisor at Champion Dishes at Dabraka. He says people consider the easy handling of the bottles they choose.
Maybe the person wants to take it out or something, or want to take it home. The person cannot, most of the glass bottles, you cannot take it out. But with the plastic ones, you can take it out. Yeah, but most of the people who come to Champion Dishes, so they prefer the plastic bottle because most of them, what they say is that the plastic bottle is easily to handle. And with that one, you can take it out. But for the glass bottles, when you need to drink it and then leave the bottle here.
To him, some people also do consider the health impact of the two before choosing.
You know, the plastic one, when it's easy, after taking the drink, you dispose the bottle. You need to put it in the bin or something. But with the glass one, what most of them have in mind is that with the glass one, after taking in the drink, it will be sent to the company. The bottles will be sent to the company, and then maybe they need to go through a process of cleaning. Yeah, they need to clean it and stuff before they can refill and then cover it again. But with the plastic one, now after they've taken the drink, they will dispose it. They have to put it in the bin, and then after everything, you have to put it in the bin. Then when they put it in the bin, with that one, it will be disposed into. They will throw it away or something, or it will be taken to a recycle place for them to.
Our penchant for everything plastic, including water, is giving the country a huge headache in terms of managing it. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, plastic pollution is a global problem. Approximately 7 billion of the 9.2 billion tons of plastic produced from 1950 to 2017 became plastic waste, ending up in landfills or dumped. So what do researchers say? Professor William Gordon, a professor at the Environmental Studies at the University of Ghana, says research has shown that people ingest plastic particles from drinking water in a plastic bottle.
Recent study looked at bottled water in about 9 different countries. And they looked at around 260 samples. And they found that there was an average of about 325 pieces of microplastic per liter. So if you drink just one bottle of water, the 500 mils, that means in a year you will ingest about 50,000 particles. Now the particles are of different sizes and they have different impacts. So they range from the size of a human hair to the size of a red blood cell in your blood, the one you have to use a microscope to see. And if you have something around the size of 20 microns, a micron is, let's say, 1,000th of a millimeter. So it's very, very small. It can actually pass through your blood vessels into your organs. So it will end up in your liver, it will end up in your kidney, and if you don't excrete through the urine, it will accumulate in.
Well, Benjamin Latte is the Executive Secretary of Assorted Waste Alliance. He is our guest on Discussion 4 as to explore the alternative ways to save our environment from continuous plastic waste pollution. He joins me via Zoom. Mr. Latte, what has been the major concern from your outfit on our unregulated use of plastic waste in the country? Hello, Mr. Latte?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. One of our major concerns is the fact that the materials used in plastic are a major concern. And if you can see from your documentary, you realize that it's the PET that is the majority that has been littered as per your documentary. And this material lends itself so much to massive littering. Secondly, one of the other concern is that there's no motivation for the collection of these materials, so it makes it easier for it to be littered on the floor, and much people, it doesn't show much sense of business. The third aspect of it is that the mandatory organizations are not so well equipped in such that whatever not measures have been put in place, they can enforce the management of this waste as it's been done, as it's been sent. And finally, the mindset by Ghanaians that these days, those the PET, which is the plastic bottles you find in your documentary, is the easiest thing to use. As compared to the former days when we were using that of the bottle, people were very, very careful and cautious how they use it. But for currently, people don't care how it is being managed. That is one of the things. Then lastly is that how are the various industries that have been set up to manage this plastic being supported? It will surprise you to know that a kilo of that the PET, which is the bottle one, is 70 pesos per kilo. And if it's 70 pesos, you need almost about 1,000 kilos to get 70 Ghana cedis for somebody who is going to do the collection. And it doesn't show any motivation. Finally, let's look at the fact that, granted, this is very, very well done. Why is it that people are still not collecting? Because the use of these bottles after use is not very further. When you look at some of the bottles, they are not even acceptable in picking. Some of them have materials that are very, very deterrent to human life, and therefore people will not go in picking them out. For us, in the coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation, it is our hope that the incoming sanitation policy document will have some kind of area where it will look into the plastic issue as part of the sanitation chain and be able to address it properly.
Well, Mr. Latte, what do you think should be the drastic way to curtail this menace? Okay, well, just lost Mr. Latte there, but we also joined on Zoom by Desmond Alona, co-founder of the Green Africa Youth Organization and the Africa Program Manager for the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives. Desmond, you have been working on recycling of plastic waste in Africa. What can you say about the situation in Ghana?
Thank you very much. So in Ghana, we have quite a very infant stage, the recycling atmosphere. And what has been happening is that we have various, last year, as at August last year, we had about 53 individual and institutions that are engaged in recycling of plastics. But out of these, the actual recyclers were like 8 of them. And even with the 8 of them who are actually recycling, and here recycling means actually turning, applying either heat and chemicals to turn the material into another form that is having durability, a higher durability. These 8 people, out of them, the 5 of them, they were not able to even recycle up to 200 kilograms a week. So you can imagine the vast majority are just people who are able to shred most of the plastics and then either sell out to some of these recyclers or ship it out to another country where the recycling appetite is higher than our case. However, we do have a lot of innovators, innovators who are using plastics in different forms. Some of them quite really sustainable, converting plastics into building materials, converting plastics into material recovery facility where it serves a multi-purpose in different parts of the country. But we are very, very at the infancy when it comes to the recycling of plastics in Ghana.
I mean, what about the regulations bit of it? Are we doing well as a country to regulate waste management?
We are not doing so well. I have been supporting the NPAP Secretariat, which is the National Plastic Partnership Secretariat, and I'm part of the policy task force. I'm also, my organization is laying down the criteria to define what we classify in the country as problematic plastic. And we are still yet to finish that process because we started last year. But so far, we haven't been able to do enough because as far as policy regulations are concerned, as far as monitoring mechanisms are concerned, we have such a very significant gap between who is on the field monitoring what is actually happening and the consumer that is actually buying these plastics on a daily basis. I'll give you an example of the last time around 2016, 2014 up to 2016, when we had some form of plastic regulation, both the levy and also the ban. We had a lot of issues with respect to people's understanding to what level do you even classify as, let's give an example of 20 microns. What does that mean to people? And so when it comes to the regulation, we have not been able to lay it out enough for our kind of population to understand what we are talking about. And we are not able to explain very much in detail to them what is the menace about plastics, because people are driving on convenience and people would prefer to go for plastics because it gives them the convenience. But then if the regulatory aspect of it was able to come out strongly and explain how things are going and what should not be done, we could have really moved further, because with the MMDAs, who are very much in touch with plastics, because their main role is to manage municipal solid waste, that could have been one of the channels that as a regulatory body we could take advantage.
Thank you very much, Desmond. That's Desmond there on the plastic menace in the country. But the first consignment of crude oil under the government Gold for Oil is expected to come in this week from the United Arab Emirates. The contract, according to government, is to guarantee the supply of cheaper finished petroleum products. Government announced the initiative in October to address the depreciation of the cedi against the dollar, especially. Deputy Energy Minister Andrew Ejapamesa, who signed the deal in Dubai, said a lot more oil companies have expressed interest in the initiative. He spoke on the AM show.
On the 10th, 11th, 12th of January, the first consignment of finished products is going to arrive in this country from the United Arab Emirates. All the necessary agreements that needed to be executed has been executed. A lot more interest have been shown by other oil traders. And whatever it is that government is doing is intended to complement what it is that the private sector, who are operators within the space, are providing, just so that we can take some pressure off the dollar, okay, and make it available to other people who ordinarily would not be getting, and hence increasing the pressure on the cedi.
Now, public sector workers are demanding an extension of the cost of living allowance following the expiration of the previous one. Government agreed to a 15% COLA public sector workers in August last year, but the package expired in December to cushion them against the harsh economic climate. President of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Sribo, says they don't expect the payment of the allowance this month.
Of COLA has not even been discussed, and as we speak, January, essentially COLA would not be paid because we have not agreed on the fact that COLA should be paid, because COLA was supposed to end in December. So the 15% will go off, and if we are not able to conclude, that would essentially mean that the salaries of public sector workers will see a 15% dip, and so we need to conclude.
The president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association, Perpetua Ofori Manfo, expects the allowance to be paid.
we are expecting is for the COLA to run until we are done with the base pay negotiations, and then the directive is given to controller to implement. Then I think we'll have some peace. But if it's taken out, I bet you there are going to be agitations all over, and I don't think we are ready for that. We are expecting that we will not see any things done in the background that will affect our bonds in terms of their reach of maturity and the payment of coupons that needs to be done. We are expecting that all those coupons will be paid as soon as they mature.
Well, meanwhile, the General Secretary of the Health Workers Union, Frank Owusu, is also urging government to implement measures that safeguard the welfare of workers.
Though from the initial stages, we made it clear that we want to look at the negotiation. I want to believe with what is going on, we may, I'm not speaking from organized labor because we have not discussed this, but I want to believe that COLA is likely to come back with the base pay negotiations. Government is owing a lot of contributions for months, and until we see all those ones being settled, pension fund managers, administrators, trustees cannot rest. We should all put our heads together, and especially trade unions, to monitor the space and see whether indeed government is going to go as he has promised.
Now, the lack of enough commitment from the Department of Urban Roads to fix traffic lights is the cause of dysfunctional traffic lights in Ghana. That is the view of the National Road Safety Authority. Data available from the National Road Safety Authority indicates that as of June 2022, 48% of traffic lights are dysfunctional across the country. Speaking on the probe, the head of regulations, impact and compliance at the National Road Safety Authority, Kwame Kodia-Etiahene, said the problem persists because the Department of Urban Roads has not demonstrated enough commitment to solving the problem. Let's hear from the head of regulations, impact and compliance at the National Road Safety Authority, Kwame Kodia-Etiahene.
But beyond the communication that have come to us with no timelines, and I think you confirm that they haven't shown as much passion, and I say this with a lot of regret. I mean, we all come into public service with a desire to make things better for the generality of the public. And if these are matters that have been on the front line for many months, and the Department of Urban Roads appear to be very cagey and not want to address them, and always creating discomfort for motorists, it makes it very difficult for us to achieve our overall targets.
Okay.
Nonetheless, yes, the letter that was written to them, the first opportunity we had was to issue the notice, which we have done. We gave a 60-day ultimatum. They got back to us with some remedial actions. We want to go back to see whether there has been any improvement or not. In the interim, we plan to work with the municipalities, at least for the peak periods of the morning and the evening, where these traffic lights are still down. Is there a way that they could deploy traffic wardens to help improve the situation? If yes, we may be happy to work with them along those lines.
Well, meanwhile, the president of the Accident Victims Support Foundation, Ghana, Reverend Cyril Crab, has appealed to the Urban Roads Department to deploy traffic control assistance to help reduce accidents on the road.
Indeed, I want to come from the humanitarian point of view, like Otuaini rightly said. We should think about the pedestrian, especially now that schools are about to be open. Most schools are concerned because we've seen many of students dying at intersections because there are no traffic lights. I live around Ablekuma, and so a traffic light at Banyard is my major concern. That's
a notorious one.
Yeah, very, very, very notorious. And I think that we must get to a place where, even though we advocate on safe driving approach, we must also try to make sure road furnitures that will help to salvage or to decrease crashes are in place, which will give our roads some kind of safety. because for a year and two, which road traffic lights are not working, it's worrying. It should be our primary priority to make sure that it is done. If it's not there, there is no order. And knowing the kind of country we live in, where drivers are very disobedient to what do you call it? Road. Yes, you get to understand that if these things are not there, then it means that we are going to increase crashes on our roads.
Welcome back. And authorities in the Northeast region have expressed worry about the rising number of suspected robbery attacks in the West Mamprisi municipality. The municipality, over the last 7 days since the beginning of this year, has recorded 4 robbery attacks, resulting in death, injuries, and loss of properties. Addressing a gathering of residents out of Bimsi Sayo, where 2 suspected robbers were lynched, and a few days ago, Regional Minister Yidana Zakaria has urged the residents to be vigilant and take all necessary precautions to remain safe in their communities. Eliasu Tanko reports.
Parts of the West Mamprisi municipality are experiencing a rising incidence of armed attacks suspected to have been carried out by highway robbers. Since the beginning of this year, 4 major attacks have already been recorded at different locations on the Tamale-Bolaga Highway and in the Waliwali Township within the municipality. The first incident of the year is said to have been recorded on the 1st of January when a bus with registration number AC 393-22 from Boko in the Upper East region was ambushed by the suspected robbers in the community of Sayu at the gate of Waliwali Township. The details of the incident indicated that although the attack was quickly fueled by the timely presence of the police in the area, angry residents of the community later lynched 2 Fulani young men they suspected to be behind the attack. Then, on the 4th of January, a mobile money vendor in Waliwali Township was attacked and robbed of a huge amount of money from his workplace by armed men on a motorbike. The third attack is said to have occurred on the evenings of 6th of January. In this attack, a cargo truck loaded with livestock from Boko to Kumasi was targeted by gunmen who opened fire on the vehicle, leading to the death of a passenger. The latest attack occurred on the 9th of 7th January, again on the Tamale-Bolaga Road at Kukwabla, where the gunmen targeted a Kia bus with registration number AP262-22 headed from Kumasi. Speaking at the Durbar of Chiefs and People of Bimsi Sayu, where 2 suspects were beaten to death by the residents, the municipal chief executive, Arimia Osomolaki, urged the residents to continue to support the security agencies in the fight against the robbers.
Just 4 days ago, we experienced an armed robbery incident in Bimsi here, where a car from Boku was attacked by unknown armed robbers. Fortunately, the police command rushed to the occasion, and there was a battle between the police and the armed robbers. Fortunately and unfortunately, we were able to protect the lives of our people. 2 people who were suspected to be armed robbers were lynched. As to whether they were or not, I don't know. But I stand on behalf of the good people of West Mamprisi to thank the community, that is Sayo, Sandanfongu, and Bimsi, for rising up to the occasion. I can tell you without any ambiguity that I am with you. You have your municipal executive support, but let's not take the law into our own hands. I will support you, I will defend you. Let us all come together and make sure we fight insecurity in West Mamprisi.
Robbery attacks are common in the Northeast region, especially in the West Mamprisi municipality. The police service in this area lacks the personnel and logistics to do their work effectively, in addition to bad rules and ineffective court systems. At the same event, the Regional Minister Yidana Zakari, who is also the chairman of the Regional Security Council, called for a closer collaboration with the security services while admonishing the residents against the application of mob justice.
We need to protect ourselves, and community protection is the best way forward. And I think that we want to appeal to our people that sometimes mob justice may not necessarily reflect the true situation. and where possible, people who do wrong, the laws of this country are there. We want to urge you that when we apprehend them, let's hand them over to the agencies of law to deal with them. But for armed robbers, when they attack us, when they want to kill us, we shall also not sit back and watch them. We will resist with all our might.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting from Wale Wale for Joy News.
Now, Member of Parliament for Sola Tuna Kauba, Andrew Chiwete, has expressed worry over the tagging of the aged as witches and wizards. He stated that once one is aged doesn't mean that the person is a witch or wizard, and people who are mostly wrongly accused are women. Speaking at a launch of Brifor Kutra Mal for a non-governmental organization, Andrew Chiwete noted that one which could stop the practice is through education. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam report from Wichiao.
The idea of the Brifor Kutra Malfu was conceived by two sisters, Rosemary and Rubdana, who are of Brifor extraction and currently at the other side of the Atlantic. It is a non-governmental organization that exists to give a helping hand to humanity, focusing on the underprivileged Brifor people in the Upper West, Savannah, and northern regions and cocoa-growing areas in the country. Its objective is to provide information, educational resources, counseling, proper cultural and family values, and above all, issues of widowhood and orphan care. Patron of the non-governmental organization, Reverend Emmanuel Kokudana, who launched it, further threw more light on its activities.
The vision bearers chose widows as a focal point because several studies have strongly shown that widowhood is a prerequisite for depression, and that depression also has a direct relationship to suicide. It has also been established that Africa has the highest rate of depression in the world, and that African widows have the highest prevalence of depression against any gender and race across the globe.
Member of Parliament for Sola Tuna Kalba, Andrew Chiwete, commended the initiators for the program and singled out the plight of widows, which he will want more focus to be on.
Once the person is a widow and the person is an old person, the person is tagged as a witch. And so I believe this project will be educating the public, let people know that old age is not supposed to be used to determine whether a person is a witch, the person is a wizard.
Another area which is much of concern is the high rate of domestic violence coupled with divorce in the Brifor communities. Though the Wawes District Chief Executive, Vare Dorothy, has no statistics to back a claim, she is hopeful that many lives will be transformed, which will lead to the proper development of their children.
They are going to be empowered. Both men and women are going to be empowered to be able to keep their marriages very well at home. Because a society without a man and a woman coming together, then it's no more a society. And so this program is going to ensure that after the women and then the men live here, marriages that were hanging in the skies will be brought down, meaning that there is going to be stronger unity, love, and peace in every marriage.
Hello and welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. International research and market information firm Free Solutions is predicting a narrow current account deficit of 4% in relation to the size of the economy for Ghana in 2023 from 4.4% recorded last year. This is expected to impact positively on the value of the Ghana cedi. However, that will be subject to an improved fiscal position, including prudent spending and sustainable debt levels. The country has been recording trade surplus since 2018, but capital flight as a result of high interest payments and sell-offs of the country's bonds by foreign investors have triggered a weak current account position. Mike Koniga is Senior Country Risk Analyst at Fit Solutions.
We project that the current account deficit, which is reflected by the line in light pink here, has widened notably in 2022 on the back of large primary income outflows caused by elevated interest payments on Ghana's external debt. But we expect a very slight improvement in 2023. Indeed, we forecast the current account deficit will reach 4% of GDP in 2023 from 4.4% in 2022. So what is the key reason behind this improvement? As I already mentioned, we forecast healthy production growth for Ghana's most prominent exports, gold, oil, and cocoa, which will prop up export growth next year. At the same time, we believe that import growth will be weak on the back of slowing domestic demand, given still elevated inflation and the prospects of higher taxes. This will put downside pressure on demand for imported consumer items and imported capital goods, and thus improve the overall trade balance.
Ghanaians will experience better days again. That's an assurance from President Akufo-Addo following major economic challenges the country faced last year. The president admitted that expectations were not met and his government is working to change the situation this year. Here's more from the Fair Sky Group's 20th anniversary and Thanksgiving organized here in Accra.
A speech read on his behalf by the Minister of Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoako-Atta, President Akufo-Addo expressed confidence as his government resolved to seek support from the International Monetary Fund. According to him, this is expected to put the economy back on track.
I do recognize that things have not been as we expected as far as the nation's economy is concerned. But I can assure all of you that my government is still committed to working hard, turning around the fortunes of the nation. I am of the strongest conviction that we will turn the corner. There is indeed light at the end of the tunnel, and Ghanaians will surely experience better days again.
President Akufo-Addo also reaffirmed government's commitment to providing enabling environment for private sector growth.
Despite the burden of a strong and healthy economy that will stand the global economic and social pressure of our time, remains my first resolution to create a very good and sustainable enabling environment for private sector actors such as Fair Sky Group, whose contributions undoubtedly result in the economic development of our nation.
The Fair Sky Group 20th anniversary and Thanksgiving was themed, "The Lord has done great things for us and we are glad." Speaking at the event, founder and executive chairman of the group, Eric Sedi Kutoche, pledged his outfit's continuous commitment to providing free dialysis to patients. He is optimistic a kidney transplant center, currently under construction in the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, will be fully operational by end of the year.
And this is our hope, that by the end of this year, the Kidney Transplant Center will be fully operational to cater for the patients, not only in Ghana, but entire West Africa sub-region. As this will be the first of its kind in the sub-region. So far, Fair Sky Group has spent 26 million Ghana cedis, giving free dialysis to over 300 patients over the past 5 years in the Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Meanwhile, special guest of honor and Vice President of Liberia, Joel Taylor, urged business leaders to emulate the Fair Sky Group by contributing to socio-economic development.
As we live, as we breathe, as we have our being, it's the testimonies. The Bible says, by their fruits you shall know them. You know the fruits of Fair Sky. You see it, the evidence, in places where people don't even want to go. Are there many more who could do more? Yes. There are many, many, many rich people across Ghana. Most of them don't care. We are in the last days, and you'll be held accountable for the resources that God has given to you. What have you done with it?
I tore that 3x5 card up. I said, come on.
The First Sky Group 20th anniversary and Thanksgiving featured a sermon delivered by the General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God USA, Reverend Doug Clay. Also present were some renowned members of the clergy, as well as government representatives, including ministers.
Well, many of you have been commenting on the teaser of a music video released by American rapper Meek Mill, which showed it may have been shot at the Jubilee House. He is seen in the company of a group of backers rapping at a location that looks like the Jubilee House. One person on Twitter, Daniel Sakite, tweeted that Meek Mill really shot a music video at the Jubilee House. This is the lowest point we can get as a country. What happened to Jubilee House is a security zone. Even American Embassy in Ghana, you can't take pictures. And Ghana allowed Jubilee House to become a studio. We are finished, he tweeted. Well, the rapper was in the Jubilee House last month and met President Akufo-Addo. Here's what he told him.
Most of my adult life was in prison because of not committing crime, wrongly accused. So when I got locked up, my whole city, I would say country, half of my country stood up for me. I grew up in a single-parent household, just me and my mom, probably grandmom. You get support, 2 uncles. We never really had support, so when you get these type of people supporting you, when I got out of prison, I wanted to make sure I give that back to the people. And, you know, we started a foundation where we raised $100 million within like 2 years. Very powerful people from all races, Asian, black, white, Spanish. We put them, we all in a room like this, and we take our power and influence and try to change laws from state to state. And I always express to them, I make music. They met me making music. They use me as a trampoline, as the door to be able to access kids from 8 to 50 years old. I tell them that I'm not a politician. God put me in this position, and I'm going to remain it and hold it as an open door. I use rap as my trampoline to be able to communicate and have the reach that I have. That's what got me in this room with the president right here making music. So I use that as my door to keep activating things, and making it to Ghana is a dream of mine, to always be able to come back here and do anything. I don't know what to tell you that you would like or love, but anything that builds, anything that connects the bridge to the young black people where we come from, because we don't know about this. American officials don't really talk to us like that, and just being invited here, I was willing to stay here all day just to meet some black, strong people that really come from where we come from.
Well, at that meeting, President Akufo-Addo was excited to have the rapper in Ghana and at the Jubilee House.
I'm really, very excited that my daughter Jacqueline insisted that you should come and say hello to me. And I appreciate that very much. I heard about last night.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Whoa. And it's happening at a time when a lot of places in West Africa and a lot of difficulties, and here we had what, 100,000 or something more?
That was a lot. I didn't even know I was gonna see that.
Coming out to party, to listen to you and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
It's something really extraordinary. We have to thank you for that. Make the best of it by reforging the link and leveraging our mutual strengths of each other and for each other, so that we can elevate the position of black people in the world, here and over there in the Americas as well. It's a very important development for both of us. I'm very keen on it, and we're doing a lot of talking around the world to make sure that there's a clear understanding on all our parts of how very, very, very important it is for our future that we connect, and everything that is built around that to grow. When we have people with a major talent like you do, that helps, and that you come here and expose us to the world and expose yourself to the world in that way too. All those things are important building blocks, and we have to encourage it. And I'm happy that the results of this Year of Return program has made more and more and more and more people like you, our brothers, our kith and kin in the Americas, are finding their way here to rediscover their links.
Well, Jacqueline Yeboah has been seeking your opinion on this development.
This country right now, do you know what we have in this country? It's like we have a country without head. You know, the country is just, we don't just know what is going on. Mick Mill, we have people in Ghana here more than Mick Mill, but they don't have that opportunity to go to the Jubilee House to do what Mick Mill just did. In short, but we get best rappers in Ghana. Can you compare Sarkodie in terms to those guys where they talk, say, Mick Mill? You can't do that. Who does that?
What are people saying about this? So it's very bad.
As a Ghanaian, for me, it's very bad. You know, to just allow American artists just enter into our, you know, our, let's say, a Jubilee House to just shoot a video. And I know some of the Ghanaians cannot even just go there and say they are going to even shoot a video. But this is where our presidents live, and we need some security there. And American artists just move from America. We don't know what have is in mind. What is going to set some cameras there to know what we are doing over there? So that one, the presidents, you know, I think it's very bad that you have to allow somebody to just enter to this Jubilee House to just shoot a video. I don't think it's good.
It's not right, because the main reason why I said it's not right is you can't go to White House and go and take clip and, you know, and be saying all sort of nonsense things. First of all, I'll blame the government. The reason why I said I'll blame the government is because he gave them the opportunity to come over there to do all those nasty things. Even though he went to our Jubilee House to make a video, to do a music, okay, let me say it's cool, but you know, the words from his mouth, I don't think it's advisable, because when you are doing something, you know, there is an upcoming youth. You understand? You have to say something that will motivate the upcoming youth. You understand? So what are you expecting the youth to learn from this thing?
It's wrong. Why he no fit go White House go do that thing? Where he go come? What be he? You know, respect our government. Then they there, then they chop money. We will suffer on the streets. You know, they know. You know, understand me? Why go make this kiddie?
Oh, it is normal. This is nothing bad like that. Do you understand? Music video. If you think you want to go there and do something, they can allow you. Do you understand? This won't stop the country from moving forward or something. Do you understand? So it is normal. He just feels at home. Normal entertainment. So there are issues on the ground.
Well, away from that, pray for the country to get a government that works in the interest of citizens. That's the appeal from the national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. The leader of the opposition party today led a delegation of executives and other supporters of the NDC to worship with congregants of the Perez Chapel International to offer thanksgiving to God for what the party describes as a successful 10th National Delegate Congress of the NDC. Taking his stand to address the Ghanaians, Mr. Nketia cautioned that citizens have the power to make the right choices, including choosing leaders that will work in the interests of citizens.
Archbishop, we are very, very thankful for your prayers and for your courage and truthfulness to stand up and speak for the nation and not for any sectional interest. We want to continue to plead with the Archbishop and the congregation to continue praying for us so we can get through the next phase of the exercise. And to pray again, not for NDC to come to power, but pray for this country so that we get the government that we need. God has given us choices, so we have control over what we choose. But our choices come along with consequences. God has not given us the power to determine the consequences of our bad choices. So there are times where you make a bad choice, you must suffer the bad consequences. And that is where you get, people say you get the government you deserve. We are praying that the Lord will give Ghana the government that we need and not the government that we deserve because of our wrong choices.
Well, that's all we have for you on Joy News today. With me, Razak Musbau. There's more stories on myjoyonline.com. There, you can head there and also follow us on all our social media handles and keep the conversation going on Miro's video. What do you make of it? You have a lovely day.